State Ballot Measure 71, and this must, Anna Soul is from Defend Oregon, will be speaking for the measure. And I should say that if there's no one speaking against it, that just means there was no organized opposition. And back on the tables, we have some articles from the paper, letters to the editor that kind of summarize what the opposition says, but it's not that we didn't want it in here, but there was no organized opposition.
You guys gave me a pretty easy one. Thank you for having me. I'm here to talk about the statewide ballot measure 71, which is basically limited annual sessions. So it's a referral from the legislature, and it would basically mean that Oregon would join 45 other states in now holding annual sessions rather than biennial sessions. And the way it would work, it's 160 days in odd numbered years and 35 days in even numbered years. It's kind of just a chance for modernization, brings us allows the legislature to meet more often, deal with budget issues on a yearly basis as budgets need to be adjusted. They've largely been meeting through special sessions on an annual basis anyway, so this sets both a specific time limits around those sessions too, so hopefully we'll make the time that they're in session a little more efficient. So it has pretty bipartisan support. There hasn't been really any opposition, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have one. You said it allows them, the title of the thing is it requires them to meet annually.
It requires them to meet annually, yeah. 160 days in odd numbered years, 35 in even. It takes a super majority of 2/3 votes for them to extend it by 5 days, and it's every 5 days they would have to do another 2/3 vote, so, yeah.
What's the longest session, do you know what the longest session has been?
I believe it was 2002, it was 5 special sessions, and I think they were there for 211 days. So more than the 2 term limited sessions add up to under the current proposal.
They can't go above that, so.
There's still the ability to call a special session, but hopefully there would be less need for them now that there would be set times for them to meet and time limits under which they meet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would the special session be subject to the additional 2/3 majority, or would that be called like it normally is now?
It would be just like it normally is now. So to extend the time limited sessions would be the 2/3 majority, so.
What's the cost in terms including the per diem that the legislators would get per day and whatever they get for their staff and that sort of thing? So what's the cost of the extra?
So the state's financial estimate committee looked at it, and again, because largely without time limits, in many of the recent years they've been meeting that number of days anyway, the estimate is that it would not either raise or cost money in excess of $100,000 either way. So basically, the state's financial estimate looked at it and looked at the last several sessions, and there's like a particular category when they're rating it that it would not either direction go more than $100,000.
Yeah, how do you answer the concern that it just gives them more time to make mischief?
Well, I actually think that because there's limited sessions, that the time limits are there. I think it encourages our legislature when they're there to know that they're there for a strict amount of time to work efficiently, and I think it allows them greater accountability, greater transparency, greater efficiency while they're there. And I really think it is just an issue of modernization to address, budget issues. And I think it's been biennial sessions since 1859, and obviously the state has changed a lot since then. So I think the time limits kind of cap that and encourage efficiency. Representative, you can probably speak better than me.
Well, just from my personal experience, I just came from a meeting of legislators from 15 Western states, and we were talking about a variety of things. The real focus of it was higher education, but we were talking about just the challenges of meeting the budget, and I mean, all the states are seeing their budgets in decline, and there are, one of the other states, I forget which one it is has biannual sessions as we do. And the other states were just amazed that we still have biannual sessions. And said, well, how can you possibly function without coming together every year? And I did tell them, and I think you're probably all aware of this, that we have been coming together in special sessions for the last 2 biennia. So in the even-numbered year, we have been meeting. And you know, it's worked pretty well, I have to say. And if you put together, if you look at what we have been, the number of days that we have been meeting is in these last 2 biennia, and the per diems that have been paid in these last 2 biennia, under this new plan, it would actually be fewer days and less expensive. And you know, I think we're very cognizant of that. But there's just something really important about meeting on a regular basis. And for us legislators, knowing that, okay, for 6 weeks, you know, in the even-numbered year, I know that I'm gonna have to take off from work and adjust my schedule that way, as opposed to, well, maybe we'll call a special session. It gives everybody a lot of surety and certainty.
Yeah.
Oh, one, right.
Oh, you mentioned that the 35 days in the even year would be for budgetary. Can you expand on that? Because I have a comment on that.
Actually, it doesn't set forth what it would be for.
Okay.
In the last couple special sessions that they have done in the even number years to address budget issues, they've largely been around that time frame, and they've needed to come back to address budget issues, but it's not in the legislation itself. It just mandates the number of days.
Because if I can add a comment to that, in our February special session, they did meet, and it actually, again, increased our other fund budget by quite a bit. In May, when the state budget came out, we had a major shortfall. The non-majority party put forth, we need a special session just to address this thing, to prevent the 9% across the board cuts that the governor said he was going to do. The non-majority party was saying, please, you're going to cut crucial programs. Let's do a special session just for this. The majority party, Mr. Dembro being one of them, voted no for that. So I have real issues when we do really have an emergency. We have no money that we need to fund crucial services, and when we had the one chance that we could have really addressed emergency budget issues, it was voted down, and Mr. Dembro was one of those.
I guess what I would just say is that setting, I think, a specific, you know, amount of time, knowing that's going to happen, knowing that there will be an annual time to adjust those sorts of things will probably, you know.
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for the input.